Imagine starting with almost nothing, facing rejection, failure, and enormous risks, yet dreaming of changing the future. That is the extraordinary story of Elon Musk, one of the richest people in modern history. But Musk's journey was never simply about becoming rich. It was about solving problems that most people believed were impossible. Born in 1971 in Pretoria, South Africa, Musk showed an unusual curiosity from childhood. He became fascinated by computers, science, technology, and the possibilities of the future. As a young teenager, he taught himself programming and created a simple video game. He eventually sold that game, earning his first small amount of money from technology. But money alone was not enough to satisfy his ambition. Musk wanted to build things that could change entire industries. He moved to Canada before eventually studying at the University of Pennsylvania in America. While many students were thinking about ordinary careers, Musk was thinking about humanity's biggest problems. He became interested in the internet, renewable energy, and eventually space exploration. After college, he started working on companies instead of choosing a comfortable career path. His first major opportunity came when he co-founded an online company that helped newspapers create digital businesses. That company eventually became part of a larger company, creating Musk's first significant fortune. But instead of simply enjoying his success, Musk decided to risk much of his money again. He invested heavily in a new company called X.com, which later became part of PayPal. When PayPal was acquired by eBay, Musk received hundreds of millions of dollars. For most people, that amount would have been the perfect reason to retire. For Musk, it became the beginning of an even bigger mission. He wanted to make electric cars desirable, powerful, and capable of competing with traditional automobiles. That vision led him deeper into Tesla, a company that was struggling to survive. At the same time, Musk founded SpaceX because he believed humanity needed a future beyond Earth. The early years of SpaceX were brutally difficult and filled with uncertainty. Its first 3 rocket launches failed, putting the entire company close to collapse. Imagine watching millions of dollars disappear while knowing your next decision could end your dream. Musk kept going because he believed failure was not the same thing as defeat. That single success changed the company's future and gave Musk another chance. Meanwhile, Tesla was also fighting enormous financial and manufacturing problems. Many critics believed electric vehicles would never become mainstream, but Musk continued pushing Tesla toward mass production and technological innovation. The company eventually began producing cars that captured worldwide attention. Tesla's value exploded as investors began believing in the future Musk had imagined. And because Musk owned a significant stake in the company, his personal wealth grew dramatically. But the real lesson is not the billions shown beside his name. The deeper lesson is how aggressively he focused on long-term goals. Musk repeatedly entered industries where established companies already dominated. He challenged the automobile industry with electric vehicles. He challenged the aerospace industry with reusable rockets. He challenged traditional ideas about transportation, energy, and artificial intelligence. His philosophy was simple: identify a massive problem, then work relentlessly toward a solution. But his journey also shows that enormous success comes with enormous risk. There were moments when Tesla and SpaceX were both dangerously close to running out of money. Musk even invested much of his remaining personal fortune to keep his companies alive. That decision could have destroyed everything he had built. Instead, it helped create the foundation of his extraordinary wealth. SpaceX eventually developed reusable rockets that dramatically changed the economics of space launches. Tesla became one of the world's most valuable automobile companies. Musk's wealth rose because his ownership stakes in these companies became extremely valuable. This reveals something important about how extreme wealth is often created. The richest entrepreneurs usually do not become wealthy simply by earning a salary. They become wealthy by owning pieces of companies that grow enormously in value. Musk's story is therefore also a story about ownership, innovation, and calculated risk. He focused on businesses that could potentially become much larger than traditional companies. But wealth was never guaranteed during the early stages. Every major breakthrough came after periods of uncertainty, criticism, and failure. And that is where his story becomes motivational for anyone chasing a difficult dream. You do not need to start with billions to begin building something meaningful. You need curiosity, persistence, and the courage to keep learning. You also need to understand that failure can be part of the process. Musk did not succeed because every decision he made was perfect. He succeeded partly because he continued moving forward after decisions went badly. His journey proves that ambitious goals often require uncomfortable sacrifices. It also shows why thinking long-term can completely change your approach to success. While others may focus on what can happen this year, entrepreneurs often think about what could exist 10 years from now. Musk repeatedly bet on futures that seemed unrealistic to many people. Electric cars, reusable rockets, and commercial space travel once sounded almost impossible at scale. Today, they are major parts of the modern technology landscape. But perhaps the biggest lesson is this: wealth was the result, not the original goal. The original goal was to build companies around problems Musk believed were worth solving. Money followed as those companies created enormous economic value. So if you want to learn from his story, do not simply copy his lifestyle or his risks. Instead, study his willingness to learn, experiment, fail, and try again. Find a problem that matters and become obsessed with understanding it. Build skills that make you valuable in a world that constantly changes. Think bigger than immediate rewards, but remain realistic about the risks you take. Because becoming successful is rarely one giant moment. It is usually thousands of small decisions made consistently over many years. Elon Musk's story reminds us that extraordinary outcomes often begin with an idea that nobody else understands. And sometimes, the person who looks crazy today is simply the person who sees tomorrow a little earlier. So, dream boldly, work intelligently, learn from failure, and never confuse a setback with the end of your journey. Because your current situation may describe where you are today, but it does not have to determine where you finish.